At Thanksgiving dinner, my brother raised his glass and laughed. Cheers to me. The one who didn't peak in high school like some people here. Everyone burst out laughing as I bit my tongue until it bled. 6 months later, I pulled up to our family gathering in a car that cost more than his house and watched his smile drop right in front of everyone. I've never been the loud one in the family. That's Dean's role, always has been. He was born loud. Big personality, big smile, big ego. He walks into a room and assumes everyone wants to hear what he has to say. And to be honest, most of the time, people do. Growing up, I was the quiet kid in the shadow. Dean was 2 years older. Star of the football team. Homecoming king. Dated all the prettiest girls. Teachers loved him. Coaches loved him. Even the neighbors went out of their way to say that Dean, he's going places. Me? I liked video games. I liked building stuff with code. I liked staying in my room, reading manuals, learning new systems. I didn't like attention, and I got used to being overlooked. When I got into Oklahoma State for computer science, nobody really said much. When Dean got into a local community college to play football, the whole town practically threw a parade. I never told anyone how much that stung. After college, I moved to Dallas and started working in tech. First job wasn't glamorous, but I saved, learned, built apps on the side. By 29, I was pulling in a solid 6 figures from contract work alone. I kept to myself, didn't show off, didn't come home much. Dean stayed in Tulsa, married his high school girlfriend, got a job selling trucks at a local dealership, and bought a house with a mortgage so high it made my parents nervous. Every Thanksgiving, I drive up, bring a bottle of wine, and sit quietly at the dinner table while Dean made the room spin around him. But last Thanksgiving, he went too far. We were all seated. Mom had made her usual spread, stuffing, cranberry sauce, all that. It was toward the end of dinner. Dean had already told 3 stories that were all about him. Some deal he closed, some buddy from high school who was now divorced, some joke about soy boy baristas that made everyone uncomfortable. Then he raised his glass. "Let's toast," he said, grinning that big, dumb grin. To me, because I didn't peak in high school, unlike some people here. He looked directly at me. Laughter. From cousins. From my uncle. Even my dad let out a chuckle. I didn't laugh. I just sat there. I bit the inside of my cheek until I tasted blood. I wanted to speak. I wanted to tell him to shut the hell up. But I didn't. I never did. That night, I just picked up my coat, left early, and drove back to Dallas in silence. But I wasn't just mad. I was focused. Because what Dean didn't know was that I was in the middle of closing a private acquisition deal for a mobile app I developed. Something small but highly profitable. I built it with 2 other freelancers. It wasn't flashy, but it solved a problem, and the buyer, a logistics company, offered a cash deal in the high 6 figures. When the paperwork was signed 3 months later, my bank account changed in a way that didn't feel real at first. After taxes and splitting the earnings with my partners, I still had enough left to change the way people looked at me. And I knew exactly where I'd start. 6 months later, May, family barbecue, I pulled off the highway and into my parents' driveway just before noon. Sun beating down hard. Sweat already running down the back of my neck. But inside my car, it was cool. Ice cold. Because I wasn't in my old Corolla anymore. I was behind the wheel of a brand new 2024 Porsche 911 Turbo S. Custom order. Jet black. Yellow brake calipers. Ceramic brakes. The interior was leather and carbon fiber. I didn't buy it to be practical. I bought it because I could. I parked right in front of the house. No shade. No hiding it. I stepped out slowly, sunglasses on. Polo shirt. Nice jeans. Real leather shoes. I hadn't overdressed, but I sure as hell looked different than I had 6 months ago. Dean was standing in the front yard with a couple of our cousins. A beer in one hand, flip-flops on, sunburn already creeping across his neck. He turned when he heard the engine. That flat 6 doesn't purr. It growls. I saw the moment he realized it was me. His eyes went wide, then narrow, then confused. I smiled. "Hey." He laughed, but it wasn't the full, confident laugh I was used to. "No way. That's yours." "Yeah," I said casually. "Been thinking about getting one for a while. Figured it was time." He stared at the car, then at me. "Damn, you hit the lottery or something?" I shrugged. "Sold a company." "A company?" He repeated, like I had just told him I walked on water. Our cousins walked over. My uncle too. Everyone crowded around the Porsche. Holy hell, Adam, one of them said. This yours? Yup, I said again. Dean hadn't moved. He looked like someone had unplugged his brain. I turned to him. No speech today, I said. No toast. His jaw clenched. He didn't say anything. I walked past him and into the house. That was the moment everything changed. The rest of that barbecue was strange. People kept pulling me aside, asking questions. What kind of company? How much did you make? Are you hiring? I kept my answers short. I didn't need to brag. The car did all the talking. Dean mostly stayed outside. I saw him through the kitchen window, throwing back beers faster than usual. He was talking to my cousin Dave, gesturing toward my car with a weird smile on his face, like he was trying to make a joke out of it. I knew that look. That was the same look he had in high school when he got caught cheating on a math test and tried to laugh it off. Later, I stepped out back with a soda and saw Dean talking to our dad by the grill. I didn't hear what he said, but when Dad saw me, he gave me a long, quiet look. When I got closer, Dean didn't even wait. So what? You sell some app, and now you're a big shot, he said, smirking. No, I said. I build a business. Over 5 years. Yeah, but how long's that money gonna last? He said, like he needed to poke holes just to breathe. It's not just money, I said. It's freedom. I don't need a boss. I don't need to fake smiles to sell trucks to people who can't afford them. That one hit. I saw it in his eyes. Dad cleared his throat, tried to change the subject, but the damage was done. Dean didn't say much for the rest of the day. When it was time to leave, he walked right past me without a word. His wife, Amanda, gave me a hug and whispered, he'll get over it. But something in her eyes said otherwise. Something tense. Almost scared. 2 weeks later, I found out Dean had called my mom, asking her if I was doing anything illegal. Said no one just sells a company out of nowhere. Said it wasn't normal. Mom told me on the phone, hesitant, like she was ashamed to even repeat it. That's when I knew this wasn't over. Dean wasn't just bitter. He was unraveling. The next week, I got an email from an anonymous account. No subject, just a single line. Let's see how long that car lasts once the IRS gets involved. I stared at it for a long time. Dean had always been the bully. But now he was trying to sabotage me. And I wasn't going to let him. I didn't respond to the email. I didn't have to. I knew exactly who sent it. A week after that, I started getting weird calls on my business line. Blocked numbers. People asking about technical issues with software I didn't even offer anymore. Then came the fake reviews online. 1-star ratings on platforms where my app had glowing feedback for years. It was coordinated, obvious, and amateur. I hired a digital forensics freelancer I'd worked with once before. Told him to trace the IP addresses, see where the review spikes were coming from. It didn't take long. Every digital fingerprint pointed to Tulsa. More specifically, to a single address. Dean's. I sat with that for a full day, just letting it sink in. My brother wasn't just jealous, he was actively trying to ruin me. So I went quiet. I didn't call him. I didn't confront him. I started planning. I pulled all my personal data behind 2 new layers of security. Set up notifications for any attempts at identity access. Took my company website offline for a week under the excuse of maintenance, just to kill any traction his crap might have gotten. Then I did something I never thought I'd do. I called Amanda. She answered on the 3rd ring, breathless. Adam, yeah, I just need to ask you something. Not as your brother-in-law. Just as someone who's getting tired of being lied about. There was a pause. He told me you'd call. That stopped me. What? He said if you ever found out, you'd try to drag us both down. That you'd make stuff up. That you'd threaten him. He's been paranoid for weeks. Keeps pacing at night. Staring at his phone. Drinking too much. I didn't know what to say. My voice dropped. I'm not trying to ruin him, Amanda. He's doing that himself. I know, she said quietly. That's why I'm calling you back from my mom's house. That's when it clicked. She wasn't just hiding. She'd left him. He's getting worse, she said. He said he'd even the score somehow. I didn't know what that meant, but now I'm scared. Did he ever talk about my taxes? About reporting me? She didn't answer right away. Yeah, she whispered. He said he sent something in. Claimed you were laundering money. My stomach dropped. Not because it was true, it wasn't. I had receipts, documents, everything clean. But just the idea of going through a federal audit made my blood run cold. This was bigger than I thought. He wasn't just angry anymore. He wanted to destroy me. And I knew right then, I had to hit back. but not with fists. I was going to take the one thing he cared about more than anything else. His reputation, his family, his pride. I didn't go straight for his throat. That's what Dean would have done. Wild, reckless, loud. I was quiet, calculated. The first thing I did was talk to Amanda again. I asked her if she had proof, texts, voicemails, anything. She hesitated at first, but when I promised I wouldn't use her name, she sent it all. One of the messages from Dean, saved in her voicemail, said, "I swear to God, I'll ruin him. I already told the IRS he's hiding money. Let's see how fancy he acts when he's got handcuffs on." I forwarded it to my lawyer, along with a full record of the emails, the fake reviews, and the IP logs. He said it was enough to file harassment charges, and possibly even defamation, if we pushed it. But that wasn't enough for me. I wanted everyone to know what kind of man Dean really was. So I made a video. Not some dramatic expose or flashy edit. Just me, sitting in my apartment, calmly telling the story. From Thanksgiving to the Porsche to the threats. I didn't say his name, but I didn't need to. Anyone who knew us would know. I posted it on Facebook and LinkedIn. Within 2 days, it blew up. People from our high school commented. Former co-workers of Dean's chimed in. Some even shared their own stories. Times Dean mocked them, scammed them, borrowed money, and never paid back. Turns out, I wasn't the only one he'd burned. Then came the big one. His boss at the dealership saw it and fired him. Not because of what I said, but because he used a work computer to send fake reviews and harass me. They pulled his browser history, found everything. Dean called me the day after. I let it go to voicemail. "You think you won, huh? You think this makes you better? You're a damn coward. You've always been jealous of me. Now you ruined my job, my marriage, everything. I hope you're happy." I saved that too. He spiraled fast. Tried to lie to my parents, said I hacked him, claimed I was framing him. But they'd seen the video. They'd heard the voicemails. They knew. My mom cried. My dad just shook his head and said, "About time someone stood up to him." A week later, Dean moved in with a buddy. Amanda filed for divorce. I heard she took the kids with her back to her mom's place. I didn't feel good. Not exactly. But I felt something close to peace. Still, I wasn't perfect in all this. I let that old bitterness push me too far. I could have handled it cleaner, maybe more private. But I won't lie, it felt good to finally say something. To finally show everyone that I wasn't the weak little brother anymore. Dean made his choices, and I made mine. This time, I didn't bite my tongue.